Okay, last video for the night is me getting back into this piece. That was wrong. I gotta put that right back. I wasn't being smart. What I need is a little bit more up here. I made it too flat-headed, so I've got to add some volume back here using the nice soft clay that I've had in place for just that purpose. Gotta find a different tool. Don't know what I wanna use. Whoops, just dropped my water bottle, y'all. It's cool, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool. I think that tool will work. Yeah, that'll work. Now this, we're really gonna sort of back up onto itself. So I've just gotta compact and press this clay in. I can add more to the end, but I need this little part to be pretty well connected. All right, let's do a quick measurement check on this, shall we? We shall. All right, I'm putting the ruler starting it right about the point where I see that chin is ending. This is a straight edge, so I don't know that that will really work. Let's use this. That is a straight edge. So I'm just gonna place it right against the chin. All right, so, hold on. Smooth some areas in. All right, so we are looking at 4 inches right now. I think I'm gonna pull this in a little bit more, so I'm just gonna smush it and pack it onto itself, trying not to disturb the curve. That rhymes a little bit. This one's gonna be a little bit smaller. Gotta pull that clay. Again, I also want it using the ruler to line up against the edge of this canvas until I touch her forehead, because I want this to be up here. So I don't have a pencil or anything, and I sort of really want to mark that. I guess I'm just gonna have to sort of draw a line with a sharp edge and hope that I'll still be able to see it. Not the best, but I think it's gonna have to do for right now. I can see it. If I don't accidentally cover it up with clay, I'll be sort of okay. So on this, again, just making sure that clay is compacted. Using this tool to sort of force the shape that I want. I still need to push a little more of this down. So I'm patting and using my hand to support so that I'm compacting the clay. All right, that's just about good enough. And then I'll add one smaller ball. I dropped my spray gun. Hang on, guys. Yeah. So one smaller ball that I'm gonna have to leave a little excess on just so that it can attach right there. And I can see my line still, so that's good. So let's make this pretty thick on this end to attach here and bring it down, and I'll be able to cut down to that line. So I'm going to take my pen tool. This is a different pen tool. It's a shorter one, but it's still a pen tool. Lift this up so I can see, and just make some scratches, cross hatches, so that I can unite these two pieces really well. I'm making it all around the bulb, or the ball, however you want to refer to this. And I'm going to go ahead and go in for a little bit of my slip, which has not been manipulated and stirred up at all, so I'm going to have to do that now with you guys. So I just sprayed a little water in there. Doesn't need to be watery. I like my slip pretty thick, so I just want it workable. And this tool is great for it because it bends, so it really allows me to mash and mix. I saw on TikTok or somewhere, a potter suggested using like the NutriBullet. I have that for making my smoothies. I actually do make like kale, spinach, and fruit and almond milk smoothies, but she said go to a garage sale or even possibly, I guess, a thrift store, which I'm never, ever going to do because I hate doing stuff like that. It's just not enjoyable for me. But she said basically get yourself a NutriBullet and blender and use that solely for putting your slip into, putting your ground clay particles into, add the water, and blend it until you have the consistency you want, and then you have a full cup of slip. And I'm like, oh my God, I love people with common sense and who figure out ways to make their life so much easier. I never would have thought of that. And it's a really, really dope idea and so simple and would take away all that mashing and mixing that I always have to do. So I'm with that. So, you know, one day soon, when the money is right, I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to get myself another NutriBullet. I don't think they're that expensive anymore because, you know, they're not the newest, hottest thing on the market any longer. So I can probably get one for about $50, if not less. And yeah, that's just a really dope way to get to it, you know? I like that. I'm sorry, I needed to see this space a little cleaner than it was because I'm not doing so much that it has to be extra, extra messy. So I just wanted to clean that off a little. All right, so I have put the slip there. Air-conditioned environment is already drying, so I don't need that. I'm going to go ahead and grab the pen tool again and go ahead and score this as well. It's got a little hunk of clay on it. Let me move that off. All right, so I'm going to score this, and I'm probably just going to lightly mist where I just scored and put the slip. Rescore that area since the slip is so thick on there. I still want it to be textured and give this something to grip onto. So there, sprayed it. And now I go in with the joining. So I'm just going to wriggle this into place. Let those textures meet and interlock. And then once I feel pretty good about the connection, then I can go in and shape and sculpt and move things around. So I'll take this tool and start doing that. I'm gonna pull it down and over this other ball so I know that that connection's been made. I'm pulling it down and pressing it in a little, and then I'm just smoothing it over the other ball, making the connection, going in here at an angle on the sides, smoothing it down and scraping it over. Same thing on this area. Now this area is a little bit different, so I'm gonna go in this way, pull this down, push it in and down, and work it around. That sounded funny, like some old school R&B instructions. Pull it down, work it around. So yeah. Now, all right, the reason why I've just stopped and I'm sitting up here thinking right now is because now it is time to start considering balance and how this is going to end up. So in order to do that, for me, it's probably easier for a more experienced sculptor, I've just got to look at it a little bit and probably use the, what's the name, the ruler again, to make sure I'm coming in at a good marking point for the holes that are going to hold the pendant. So this needs to be much more right here. So let's go ahead and add that. Can you see it? I hope you can see it, guys. All right, I feel like that's a pretty good look. Let's clean it up some. There's a little area of that top lip that's bothering me, and I think it's just residue, little clay deposits that are built up right in that area. Yeah, that's all it was. Still needs a little lift to it. All right. I feel like another hole should go right about here in this mound. So like right there, and then I would have to ruler across and right here so that it can stay pretty much that way. If it tilts forward a little or tilts backwards a little, that's not going to upset me. That's not a big deal. I don't know. I'm trying to show you this. Can you see that huge chasm right there? Crack? Yeah, that's not good. That's where I missed blending. So the clay is still very, very soft. So I'm just going to pack that right into place. I hope that it's not very, very deep, because then I would just be putting a fix on the outside that's not necessarily fortifying the structure on the inside. But I think it's going to be all right. I really do. Coming in with the needle tool, just cleaning up a little area that's bothering me. It's got a little bit of a clay deposit, and I can see that on her lip. And I don't have to lose my mind about any of that, because there's still a lot of work to be done, a lot of smoothing to be done as it gets closer to being leather hard. And I've lost my favorite little tool again, so give me a second while I search for this. I told you I really need to keep all the silver joints together. Ah, found my tool. All right. Okay, so this is a little smushed in. I don't think I'm too comfortable with that, so I'm getting a piece of very, very, very moistened clay, and I'm just going to work that in and on top of. This is another area that needs a nice little amount of very, very soft clay. So moist, so soft, and so sticky that I don't need any slip. I'm trying to find the perfect piece because I'm pulling from the underside of what's been sitting on the table, because that still has water, a little puddle of water on the table. And that's the best thing to choose from when I'm adding in this way. All right, so I made a good choice. And I'm just going to fold this over and in, and then smooth upward. right, so let's take a look. It's still soft enough for me to slide down. All right, that's the exact meeting point of that line. And I want to re-examine that. I don't know if I want this curled quite in that way. So let me go ahead, spritz that, make it pliable, go back in with my ruler, and do the same thing. Just line it up till it touches that forehead. All right, so I did really good. Wait, I moved it, sorry. I did really good with lining that last Afro puff on her ponytail up, but I really need to drag it across further. Before I do that, I really want to make sure this is almost perfectly aligned. So I think that's it. I shouldn't have moved that ruler, guys, but I did. It's too late now. See if I can get it right back to the same position. Yeah, I think that's the same position. And that's fine because I actually want to bring it out this way. I know I started curving it in order to stay within that 4-inch mark, but let's go ahead, put this straight edge at her chin. Boom. Get that ruler right up against it. And it's a little over 4 inches. Let me turn this around and show you what that would look like approximately in position on someone. All right, so here I am, and here this is. So, not too big, but like I said, got to make sure that how it hangs. All right, because, let me see. It's my necklace. That's right where it hangs. So this, the necklace would be longer, but it would need to be right about here that the strings go in. I certainly don't want to put a string right in the center of her eye. I want this string to be right about here on her head. So now you're seeing where this is naturally falling sort of goes down into this second one. Because bringing it up too much would be too close to the edge, and it would just be hard to bore a hole on that area. I need to sort of bore it into the thickest part. So I've got to think about this before I bore the hole. Now, there's always an option to bore wherever I want, pull the two strings together, and have a bead hold that in place so that then this necklace, like imagine this as a bead that both of these strings are going through, and then these strings exit out. Those strings exit out of the bottom of that bead, boom, boom. Still, a balancing act. And once I bore the hole, you know, I don't really have any do-overs. It is what it is. And lopsidedness is really not the ultimate concern, just because, like I said, if this ends up tilting this way, no big deal. If it tilts this way, no big deal. But I'd rather it sit, you know, pretty comfortably so that you can see this is homegirl and her Afro puffs. So I think what I want to do, like, see how that's going at an uncomfortable angle. It's not a curve for me. That looks like, you know, angle, straight line, angle when I want that motion. So that's why I sprayed it a little minute ago, so that I can just move it more into a better position. Drop this down some. I'm using my fingers. Lord, I've got to turn the camera around, guys. I'm gonna be okay. It's a little therapy. Hold on. All right, so here we are. So what I was doing just now was pulling this down while taking my finger to brace against here, this finger to brace against here, and just sort of repositioning. So now I'm scooching this whole thing in, still making sure to back it up onto itself so that I don't mess with that connection. And I've got plenty of wiggle room because the clay is still nice and moist. But now I've dropped down a little too low. So that means I've got to work in here, pressing it up and against, pressing up and against, fortifying that area. And I think I'll also get more of a curve once I start actually sculpting these, because then I can bring this in some, that in some, and create that formation. And actually, I feel like this needs to be down a little. Hold on. Yeah, I think that made a difference. I think a little spot right here of added clay will make a difference for me and give more of an illusion of a curvature. Very sticky, very wet. So I'm just going to pack this in, push it up against. I thought this was a random piece of clay in the way and almost plucked it right off. I would have been so upset with myself. All right, so I think that adding that volume to those areas, to me, seems to enhance the curve more. And that's what I needed. And I'll probably just, pat these pieces around to bring them in more. I'm just sliding her into this Ziploc bag that has had a whole ton of clay in it, very loosely. And that's just going to go over to the side where I can't accidentally bump into it because of that very, very fragile and vulnerable piece of earring. I wonder if that's going to make it through. We're going to see, because I'm clumsy, so, I'm really, truly a klutz. So I'm anticipating bumping into it and knocking it off. And if that becomes too much of a thing, then, you realign and readjust, and she won't have a hoop earring anymore. She'll be wearing a pair of studs, and that'll be that. So I am looking, oops, sorry guys, I bumped into that. So I'm looking for a bag to put this into. No, that's wrong. I'm looking for a bag to put this loose clay into. And I really wasn't thinking, because I actually already have one. It can go right in here. Let me put this tool up. And all that's going to be wonderfully workable for whatever I need it for tomorrow. And I'm just going to wrap it around on itself, put it out of the way. This away, this away. And this is the last of my little spray bottle. The water is almost done, so I think it'll be just enough to clean my table off. So let's do that. Y'all know I love my Viva towels. They are the best. They're so reusable because they're so thick and cloth-like that I wipe down the table and then I spread them out and I just let them dry naturally. And I use them until they rip to shreds, and they really don't rip to shreds. So I use them just until they look too gross for me to continue to use. Just me cleaning off my table. That piece is drying. I'm just sort of lifting it up to check for cracks. I just bumped into an area, and I'm surprised that we didn't watch that break off. Thank goodness it didn't. And I see a little area in here that I need to smooth. So I'm just doing that right now. Of course, in the process, I just bumped into that skirt again. I need to stay away from this right now. So let me drop this bag right back into place and get out of the danger zone, because it's really a miracle that I did not crack that skirt. I don't know how that happened twice and I didn't do it. Maybe just because I wasn't moving really fast, so it didn't have that momentum with that weight. All right, guys, so as you can see, being good, cleaned off my whole area. This piece that's in the bag, I still have to work on him. This is from yesterday, and that's from the Fang series. And this clay has gotten pretty much leather hard, so I'll be able to go in and really, really sculpt out details and work on his face a considerable amount. I think I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. I say as I grab a tool to fix something right now, because that's what happens. You see stuff and you feel like if you don't fix it right now, yeah, this is definitely leather hard. So leaving it out in the bag the way that I did was really perfect. I wish I wasn't getting tired and worried about getting clumsy and careless, because I could really work on this a lot, you know, because it's perfect consistency. So what I'll do, because I did not expect it to get as leather hard as it did, is I'll go ahead and seal the bag tonight, because whatever moisture is going to escape out of it, I want it to tint and settle back onto the piece and keep a little bit of a light amount of softness to it. So anyway, that's him. He's looking great. So like I said, slide him back into the bag, and I'm gonna close him up all the way tonight. Pressing air out all around him. Hearing that Ziploc bag close into place, but even still, I'm gonna fold this over onto the bottom, set it right up here, and now we're good to go again. All right, so thank you for sitting with me through production, through cleanup, through me running my damn mouth, all of that. Appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.